In my last video, I talked about the book by Elijah Muhammad called How to Eat to Live. And I'd say towards the end of it, I was just kind of talking about how the world is kind of filled with a bunch of like lies and tricks in order to take advantage of our health, wealth, everything, even, our state of mind. And kind of one thing that kind of leads into that is the body positivity movement, or the fat acceptance movement. So when it comes to body positivity, is to accept yourself, for the things that you have and the flaws that you were born with, or circumstances that were out of your control. An example would be someone being a burn victim and having burn scars and things like that, and instead of trying to hide themselves, they can embrace themselves and feel a lot more confident about them and their appearance, and learning to kind of better accept their situation. But it's kind of become morphed into this like weird thing where people who are, borderline addicts can feel better about themselves. And this is where it kind of leads into the fat acceptance movement, right? Because you'll see that people who are advocates for fat acceptance will kind of like lean into the same thing as body positivity. Like, let's say you see a post by someone and they might have the same hashtag as body positivity and fat acceptance. So there is nothing wrong with the general idea or concept of accepting yourself, but there is something wrong when you start to deny the ability to change yourself for the better. When you start to deny and ignore all the factors that you can put in to better yourself, right? So when it comes to body positivity or fat acceptance, specifically fat acceptance, I'll just say that it is tending to promote the idea that being overweight or being obese is a good thing, and you should kind of show it off, and you should feel powerful in a body that is less physically capable, and a body that is more susceptible to sickness, a body that is less in health, a body that will overall break down and keel over at a pretty early age. And by early age, I mean like around your 50s, 40s, even for some people. It really depends on the situation for each people, like how big they got overall. And it's just a weird thing to see people advocating for this, people getting lost in the sauce, basically. So for the most part, the reason why anyone is obese is because, or the reason why most obese people are where they are, is due to having a problem with food. They have maybe no impulse control, or they just are addicted to foods, and they eat when they feel stressed, they eat when they're happy, they eat when they whichever, however they correlate eating to their lives. And sometimes they'll binge eat, or they'll be on track, they'll be on the right track, and then they'll relapse, and then they just don't care anymore about where they are with their weight. And it's so weird that that the fact that there's enough fat people, like there's enough obese and overweight people that exist in this world, to where they can come together and say, hey, it's okay that we're like this. It's okay that we don't take care of our health. It's okay that we're addicted to foods, and we are using this acceptance movement as a coping mechanism to further delude ourselves and others around us into thinking that where we are right now is perfectly fine. That's a horrible mindset. It's a poison that's being spread to people, especially young women, mostly women for the most part. There's not a lot of guys within the fat acceptance movement. It's mostly women, mostly young women, because all the effects of the weight hasn't really gotten to them yet. It won't be until their late 30s to 40s to where they like actually feel all of the effects of being overweight. Assuming they haven't already felt them before. The overall message of fat acceptance is something that, I don't know, is not useful to anybody. Imagine a kid struggling with weight in middle school and they're being bullied. Example, me, that was me basically. And imagine if I was told, it's okay the way you are. You can be the way you are just fine. And I'm like still getting bullied. I'm still getting basically dunked on every day in school because of my weight issue. And a lot of the time, kind of listening to that type of criticism, even if it was possibly cruel, can be very useful. Now, I'm not saying that bullying is okay, but I'm saying that, the reason why people are telling you to lose weight is because naturally it's not a good thing to have excess weight. So, some people might point out examples of like, back then before food was a, just such a convenient commodity to where like everybody has access to food, at least, in Western, more developed countries, where, when food was scarce, the attractive body was like a more plump body because that means they had food and, they had access to more resources. Well, for run, people never got that fat back then. People would never get that big. People would never get as large as they are now. Go to a Walmart, bro. Go to a Walmart. Go to a Target. Maybe not a Target. Maybe a Target is like... So maybe a Walmart. Go to a Walmart. The average person you'll see there is going to be overweight. They're going to have like... Maybe they're skinny fat. But the average person is going to be overweight at like a Walmart. Or just walking... Go to like some type of convention or something like that. The average person is going to carry more weight. Maybe they don't look bad. Like, some people might carry weight in a way that is more aesthetically pleasing. But in general, they are carrying excess fat that is not necessary for them to carry. And it's become something so acceptable now that, you even have like models on the covers of magazines saying like, this is, health at every weight, which is like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, you have this problem and that problem is somehow healthy. Like, you're literally promoting addiction, right? You might not be promoting alcoholism specifically, but you are promoting addiction. You are promoting, weakness to your own impulses and to your own surface level desires. And just kind of think of how, imagine if alcoholics came together, right? Everybody sees alcohol abuse as an addiction. Like, no hands down, everybody sees that, right? And imagine if all alcoholics came together and said that, hey, what we do isn't so bad. Everybody should be like this, Maybe they're not saying everybody should be like this, but it's okay that we're all addicted to alcohol and that we all drink, so much and that we're going to drink our lives away. That's okay. That's okay. And we should be telling other people that might be alcoholics, it's okay. They don't have to go to any type of treatment or alcohol anonymous. They can stay the way they are and, ruin their lives and possibly ruin their relationships. Just imagine we were spouting out that message from just any other types of like addictions, right? And then another thing, when it comes to fat acceptance, I see no good points as to why people, should be staying fat. Everything that they say is negative. Everything that comes out of their mouth is negative. They complain as to all the problems they face because they are fat. They complain that they don't get the proper attention. The world isn't set up for them to be more comfortable. Example, maybe being too big for a chair or not having enough space in the aisle of an airplane because, you ate yourself into that situation. The social stigma, people might look at you weird, or people might say things like this, or you might not get certain opportunities because of your weight. And it's just like, well, that in my opinion, that's how the world is, right? Like, we all have a choice to be overweight or not, right? There are people with thyroid issues, but that is like, a minuscule amount of people on this earth that have those problems. So when it comes to, the world or society shuns me for being overweight, well, guess who got yourself into that situation? You weren't born 50 pounds overweight. You weren't born 100 pounds overweight. At some point, you got yourself into that situation. You got yourself into that situation. Also, being fat is not a genetic thing. All right? I have family members who are overweight. I'm not overweight. I was overweight as a child, but I have the ability to lose weight, and everybody has the ability to lose weight. Like, just think of when you are, let's say you are a person who struggles with weight, and you spend, let's say 3 months losing weight. You're going to lose a dramatic amount of weight, especially if you were, carrying a lot of visible fat on you. You're going to lose possibly like 20 pounds within those 3 months, or even more, depending on your specific rate and how much like physical activity you were getting. So having that much excess fat in your body is something that our bodies did not evolve to have. It's supposed to be energy that is supposed to be spent on activity, and we're not supposed to carry that much fat. And the way science comes out, or like some type of like gratifying science, just to, I feel like, sell pills, sell medication, make sure our people are sick and they're spending more time at the doctor's office than their own homes, and then with their family, by keeping us sick. And that's one way to keep us sick, is by convincing our people that it is okay to be fat. It is okay to have no impulse control when it comes to being overweight. It is okay to give up on yourself. And one thing about this, when I hear fat activists talk and say like, well, I tried to do diets and it didn't work, or I tried to make all these lifestyle changes and it didn't work. For one thing, most of the time they are changing things up way too drastically. So that means they are, instead of like, let's say at first they were doing little to no exercise whatsoever, now they're trying to exercise 5 times out of the week. That is way too much on your body. And then they're trying to do these intense exercises. That is way too much on their body. And then they will cut calories by a significant amount. So it's almost as if they're starving themselves, or they are starving themselves, because at first they were eating, let's say 50,000 calories a day. Maybe that's a lot. Maybe that's way too much, but still, they were eating 50,000 calories a day, and now they're only eating 800 calories a day. That is like, no one can survive that. No one should. That's not sustainable for anybody. And then there's also the way they might prepare food. So if they got a bunch of microwavable foods, or they would eat out a lot and almost never prepare their own food, when they do make their own food, their food is going to be bland, tasteless, and boring. And that way they're not going to want their own cooking. They're going to want whatever junk foods that are out there in order for them to eat. So when they go about it, go about talking about, oh, I tried this and that. Well, they didn't try the right way, and they didn't try for long enough. And what happens is that the reason why a lot of these people might gain all the weight and then some after like dieting and exercising and everything, and seemingly doing everything right, the reason why they end up, rebounding like that to such a incredible degree is because what happened is that they relapse, right? So think of a person who does heroin, someone who does a lot of hard drugs or party drugs, things like that, and they are clean for 8 months. They're clean for 8 months. They haven't even smoked weed or a cigarette or anything like that. Then when they relapse, let's say they've been doing heroin for 5 years, and now they take more heroin on year 5 than they were on year 1, right? So, but they've been clean for almost a year. And when they go back to putting heroin in their system, they're going to go back to the way they were on year 5. So let's say they were taking maybe, I don't know how, drugs work or whatever, but let's say 100 milligrams of heroin. And at first, when they first started, they were taking 2 milligrams or something like that. Now they're taking 100 milligrams, and they were clean for almost a year. They end up shooting it back up, and then they go through what is called an overdose. So what happens with people who are overweight when they diet and then they end up relapsing? They kind of overdose. They overdose on food. They binge eat. They eat some more. And they eat until they can't eat. They wait for more space to come through, and then they eat even more. And this happens daily, right? This happens daily, weekly, monthly, until it spirals out of control, and now you're like, 50, 100 pounds, 150 pounds heavier than when you were, just a couple of months ago, or a couple of years ago. And that is an addiction mindset. That is what happens to people who are addicted to anything whatsoever. And the fact that those behaviors are practically being promoted as, okay behaviors doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's like people aren't realizing that you can also get addicted to food, especially the way food is made nowadays, right? Like I said in the last video, they literally put chemicals within the food in order to make it addictive. The way it smells, the way it looks, the way it tastes, everything about it is meant for us to keep going back for more and more and more and more, spending our own money, spending away our health, things like that. And another thing with fat activists, that's what they're called, that I hear them say is just kind of like, well, the reason why they're not losing weight is because they gave up. Basically because they tried everything and they gave up. And again, that's another thing. You're promoting the idea of just giving up on yourself. You're promoting the idea of just letting yourself go and just like not caring anymore. If there's one thing you should care about, it's yourself. If there's one thing in this world you should care about, it's yourself, because it is not guaranteed that anybody will care for you whatsoever, not even your own parents. So it's like, okay, you don't care about your own health. Even your friends around you are okay with you eating yourself to death, right? That's one thing too, right? Think about when people are getting in relationships and they let themselves go, right? This can happen with the man or the woman. Let's say they were very fit and active, and now they don't work out, and now they don't eat as healthy. They're not watching their weight. And I can get if a lot of things happen, like let's say you have children with that person, and you have these career things that take away a lot of time to dedicate towards your health. But if you're just like girlfriend, boyfriend, or you guys are married and there's no kids in the situation, bro, there's no reason why you should let yourself go like that. There's literally no reason. Even when you have kids, there shouldn't be any excuses. There should be some way you should watch over your health. And like, people will let themselves go when they're in a relationship. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why give up on your health? And then the fact that the other partner will not say anything about this person's weight, right? When they first met them, they weren't like this. They weren't like that. They were a much healthier person. And then now they've let themselves go. Like, even friends. If I have friends that aren't going to hold me accountable and watch what I'm doing and, call me out on stuff, then those are bad friends. Then I would have bad friends, right? If you have family members and friends who don't say anything to you when you are blatantly in the wrong, you have horrible family members and friends. You need to change that up, because people around you should be like, yeah, lose that weight. Yeah. Eat that salad. Yeah. Work out. Yeah. Pay those bills, whatever. And so it just doesn't make sense that like there's a whole group of people that are coming together and being okay with being in a situation that is wrong. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially in a situation that they put themselves in. Now, I know there's a lot of psychological factors to, gaining weight and being obese and things like that. Like, maybe some type of abuse happened, or something happened when you were younger and now you just, eat all the time, or, whatever the case may be. But when you're an adult, bro, you have to take accountability for yourself, bro. You can't go to your parents and say my parents are the fault as to why I'm overweight. No, still, like, at the end of the day, you're putting the food in your mouth, bro. At the end of the day, you're picking up the fork, you're picking up the spoon. I know it's not as simple as just putting the fork down, but but what has to happen is that you have to take accountability for yourself. And I feel like when it comes to the fat acceptance movement, promoting obesity, things like that, these are people who are no longer taking accountability of themselves and are just deluding themselves into, just feeling that these, impulses that they have are okay, right? Again, nobody thinks being an alcoholic is okay. Nobody thinks being a drug addict is okay. Nobody thinks being a porn addict is okay, right? Nobody thinks any of these things are okay. But when you see somebody who's big and overweight, and obviously they have issues with food, but we're not thinking that, oh, they don't have any problems. Oh, they're fine. They're just fine. They're just perfect. No. You're cutting your life short on purpose. And then, let's say these people have kids. You're spreading that type of behavior and that mindset to your children, very young impressionable children, and now you're affecting their health. Now you're affecting the way they go about life, and now maybe they have less willpower because they saw, hey, they might not think this literally, but they're like, hey, my mother or my father, they seem to not care about their health whatsoever. They seem to have given up on themselves. They seem to have let themselves go. They seem to be to ridicule and be negative about the world because the world isn't accepting and the world isn't, making things more convenient for a situation they put themselves in. So I'll just do the exact same thing. I'll go about life the same exact way. So, I don't know, man. Just think about what I just said. If you're in a situation like this, or if you're one of those people, stop. Stop. You have a problem. You have to realize that you have a problem. Don't delude yourself any further. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.